Show with Mike. Garet is there. Hello, Garet.
Hey, howdy.
How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing all right. Just Monday, a little trouble before the show started. You know how it
Yeah,
goes.
it's all right. It's a short week.
Yep.
It's going into a holiday is always cool. I got my first experience yesterday of kind of why I wanted to come here in the first place, and that was having a family run around, the kids being an asshole. Amanda's starting baking and like hooking up the Christmas tree. G and I are watching football. I'm like, yeah, this is what I remember when I was a kid, like
Yeah, the holiday
that
cheer.
vibe. This idea of sitting down my couch drinking a fifth of Jack Daniels by myself. I wouldn't dream of putting a Christmas decoration up, was really starting to be like, okay, you've probably only got a couple years left on this godforsaken earth. So might as well be around some people that attempt to do that sort of thing. So anyways, I kind of got my first feel for that yesterday. And that was kind of nice. It was kind of exciting. And
Good.
it's still really fucking weird to me, man. I'll be honest with you. It's really weird to look out the window and just see sunshine and 75 degrees, watching football and seeing snow games. Like I miss it. I didn't think that was possible, but it's just, there's something weird about getting deep into November and it's not right weather-wise. It's almost like we're meant to go through the seasons. It's cool. I'm not bitching, but it's weird. That's all. Let me do some reads and then I'll tell you what's going on with everything. But on a short week, I don't want to screw up like I am known to do. I think people know that about me. I'm not great at this. That's why Jay always handled it. It was just like, you just make sure the reads get in because I will fuck it up. I just forget.
The advertisers are the ones who notice it.
Yeah, the advertisers. No one else bitches me at me
Weird.
about it. Actually, these guys are all cool. Nick's never said a word. And Forey, and in fact, I'm glad I thought of something because Forey, I think, sent me a new read. I haven't even pre-read it.
All right, we're going in cold.
Yeah, I haven't read it at all. Can you please?
No N-words now, Forey, but I know this is probably playing in your bar.
What's that? Yeah, it could be in his bar right now. I apologize. Probably won't be in a little while. A lot to be played in the bar, but let's see. Deer Lake Athletic Club offers full gym, fitness classes, 3 pools, swim lessons, tennis, pickleball, childcare. Childcare, really? Got Forey watching your kid? I don't think Forey's in charge of watching your kid.
No, probably one of the ladies there.
Yeah, one of the ladies at the bar or something.
Yeah.
Hi, ladies.
Just quit running around. I got to have a smoke real quick.
Yeah. I'd have a responsible child.
Yeah.
And then, take him in there. So let's see. Childcare and more. The Backcourt Restaurant inside Deer Lake Athletic Club has weekly specials like Taco Tuesday, Quizzo every Wednesday, kids meals for $5 on Thursdays, live entertainment on Fridays and Saturdays, and now serving breakfast on Sundays from 10 a.m. until 1 o'clock with a Bloody Mary bar and bottomless mimosas. Go get hammered on a Sunday morning. What else do you have to do?
No, it's
watch
Sunday
football.
Morning. Come on.
Yeah, go watch tackle ball and get shit-faced. There's nothing better.
Go to church, pray your sins away, and then go to the bar and get fucking hammered on a Sunday morning.
That's the way to do it. They offer a special Sunday menu after 1 o'clock while you're watching the Lions win. His words, not mine. Make your reservation now for our Breakfast with Santa in our banquet center on December 15th, or book your own large or small event. Call 248-625-8686. Stop in at 6167 White Lake Road in Clarkston or visit DeerLakeAthleticClub.com for more info. One club for the whole family. So thank you, Forey. I'm sure I will forget unless I type it out. I'll try to remember to type that out. Also, our insurance expert, Nick, if you're listening, I need to talk to you as well. ASAP. I will be heading out of town for the holidays for Christmas. So we got a couple weeks, but I need to line up insurance for next year. Are you paying too much for health insurance? Are you uninsured? Health insurance can be confusing. Nick Matthews from Your Insurance Expert is an expert in health insurance, life insurance, Medicare supplements, so you don't have to be. Call Nick at 248-914-1173. I got the sweetest, nicest, coolest text from someone from 2 people who have dealt with Nick and were just raving about him. I'll read them to you another day. And then MyPillow, just use promo code TDC. The sales are out of this world, especially for the holidays. Go to mypillow.com. use promo code TDC. Pillows for $14.88, $20. You're talking about these pillows were $60 a year ago, but he voted the wrong way, so we had to destroy his business as a nation.
Hey,
So
at least we as the consumer get the benefit a little bit from the low
yeah,
prices.
exactly. The most successful pillow company in America had to be taken down because I think his crime against humanity was not slaughtering a family, but was I think
asking questions, right?
he was asking questions and he was voting the wrong way. So
Yeah.
keep that in mind before you buy your pillow. He did question an election. So anyways, promo code TDC. Take advantage for the holidays. That's an easy one. Knock it off the list. Get yourself some new pillows and all that kind of stuff. I actually left the house this weekend.
Oh boy.
Yeah. I don't do that very often, but I did. I watched some tackle ball on Sunday, obviously with the Lions. Another big win. I wish I could talk ball with you, but that's kind of pointless. I'll get Henson in here again at some point soon and break stuff down. I did not watch the Michigan game. Believe it or not, I see literally before the show that they won in huge fashion against Indiana. Congrats. They're in a bowl game.
Yeah.
Whatever. It's the first time I've not watched the Michigan game. I was just like, yeah, I just don't care. They're 5-5. They're awful. They have no quarterback. So what's the point? This is stupid. So I didn't even watch it. First time I can ever say that in my life, that I didn't watch a Michigan game. Crazy. Lions looked pretty good. Not amazing, but pretty good. Won handily. The Eagles are going to be a problem. I think the Eagles are the real deal. And but if they keep winning and playing well, unfortunately the Eagles have an easier schedule the remainder of the season. But I stayed home for all of that. I did go out Friday night and went and saw Larry David.
Oh, how was that?
Pretty good. Pretty, yeah. It was pretty good. Nothing mind-blowing. It's kind of cool. He's doing this like final season of Curb Your Enthusiasm tour.
Yeah.
Where he booked a fall tour and did like 10 cities from LA to New York. And Phoenix was one of the stops. And so I went out and saw him Friday night with G Money and the Warden and a couple other friends, Elise and her husband. I can't remember. He's from Ireland. He's a pretty cool guy, but he's got the accent and everything. It's kind of wild. But we went out and had a good time. And yeah, Larry's just telling stories, Curb stories, but it's kind of a cool idea. Like in each market, there's a guest celebrity that moderates.
Oh,
and
cool.
So it's literally just two chairs on stage. And then, they're playing the Curb theme music and they play a couple clips from the show. I would say not a ton I didn't already know. I've been a fan of Larry's for a long time and Curb for a long time. And I kind of get into the weeds on that stuff. So I see a lot of interviews and clips and I love behind the scenes stuff. That kind of shit really I get into. And so I always want to hear demo tracks and I want to hear behind the scenes stories about what it was like working with so-and-so and whatnot. So a lot of that stuff I already knew, but these guest moderators, like in Denver, it was Peyton Manning, which probably doesn't mean anything to you, but
no, it makes sense. Like he's a big name out there.
Yeah. For especially in the Indianapolis market and Denver, won a Super Bowl in each, and I believe he lives in Denver now, and so he was the moderator there, and it was like, oh, who's it going to be in Phoenix? And I'm like, I don't know, Charles Barkley. Who do you Mike? Who's the guy on Around the Horn or whatever? I think he's out here. But I don't know enough about this area to know. And so, but it didn't matter because it was the executive producer of Curb, one of the executive producers of Curb. And I was like, oh, okay.
I didn't know him anyways.
Yeah, I didn't know who that was, but okay, he would know more.
Dick Wolf.
Yeah. Right. It might as well be Bill Mahalski, executive producer. And you're like, okay, cool. But and they were fine. Larry's just a fucking weird dude. Like the girls were talking about going and seeing Kevin Smith. And I remember Kevin Smith doing one of those tours as well. Yeah. Kevin, the difference is Kevin is a natural storyteller.
Not just that, he's got years and years of Comic-Con circuits where he just does that, sit down on a panel and talk about what he's doing.
Totally. And he's fantastic at it.
Oh yeah.
He's great. He's self-deprecating. He's funny. He really weaves a story well. Like, he's meant to do that. Larry is much like me in that, yeah, dude, I don't want to leave the house. I'm just going to sit here. Like, it's a bother. Larry doesn't want to be there. He's going to tell some stories and people are going to jack off. I mean, the audience looked like I was in the crowd for an MSNBC studio audience show.
They're
Like,
just ready for anything.
Oh yeah, like the whitest audience ever. A lot of blue and pink hair. Shit, it was like, wow, this really is like a cult. It's kind of wild.
Yeah.
How many of them look like that? Like entitled white people, all dressed the same way. But you know, and so those people, that's their leader. Someone like Larry David is crazy and wild to them, and it's kind of cool.
The edge for them.
That's edgy to them.
That's the line.
Yeah. Exactly. And which is fine, you know, like everybody's got their thing. And I go to a Motley Crue show and the audience looks like it belongs at a Motley Crue show, you know? So it's not really a knock, but it's like, yeah, this is different than the usual.
It gets worse once you get into my stuff. Don't worry.
Oh yeah, I bet it does. I bet there's probably cosplay at your shows.
Oh, it gets crazy. I've seen some people who probably shouldn't be out of their house.
Yeah, it's wild, man. So the audience was central casting for what you would think a Larry David show audience would be. And it was fine. They do a Q&A at the end, and dude, Q&As are so tough when you've got an audience. And I don't know, was that some Arizona theater? I saw Bill Burr there a few years ago at this same theater, and it's big though. It's not like a 2,000 seat state theater in Detroit. It's probably, God, 4,000 or 5,000 seater. It's like a big venue. And so when you get to Q&A stuff, it's kind of wild because you put a microphone in front of someone and you know, let them ask a question. They all want to have their moment.
Yeah, and they're all saying something really stupid. Like they think it's the deepest question they've ever asked, but he's been asked that at every single one of these events.
Right. And Larry doesn't give a shit.
Yeah, he
doesn't care. And everybody wants to have their, like, I'm going to ask the question that's never been asked, or I'm going to ask something, or I'm going to be what. And it's like, dude, I heard multiple people around me like, oh, that was great, except for the people asking questions. Jesus Christ. Like, everybody around me, you could just hear them whispering to their significant others.
What?
Yeah. But there was one that was kind of cool, though. There was one guy, and he was like, my name's Milton Friedman, some, you know, Jewy New York guy about Larry's age.
Yeah.
And he says his name, and it's literally like Milton Friedman or something. And Larry's like, Milton, what the fuck? And he jumps up and he walks over. He's like, are you kidding me? And Milton's like, oh, hi, Larry. He grew up in his building, known him since he was like 4 years old.
That he remembered him.
Yeah, he totally remembered him from like his childhood, wherever in New York City he grew up. And this guy was in his building as a kid. And so that was, you know, did they stage that and plant that? I don't know, maybe.
Possible, but it's still a good moment.
Yeah, it was kind of cool. It's different. And Larry had a genuine reaction to like, holy shit. But yeah, if you're in one of those cities, I think it's worth going and seeing, but don't expect a very animated Larry but it's Larry David. Larry David's
expect Larry David 2024.
Yes, he does not give a shit. He is naturally funny though. He really is. When people are asking stuff, he doesn't mind throwing it right back in their face. Like, Jesus, can you ask a dumber question? Like we're all feeling it in the audience, and he wasn't going to like be polite to him. He kind of shit all over him, which was kind of cool. And, you know, so like I said, the Curb stories, maybe with a different moderator, it goes different, but they knew each other really well. But it was kind of cool. Yeah. So it was nice to get out and do that. Before we get to some things going on in the news and some videos and pics and whatnot, like I said, it is a short week. I been talking to Landau and was texting with him about coming on today, and he's got some personal stuff going on. Wasn't able to do it, so he's going to come on Wednesday for our last show before Thanksgiving, and then and then he was like, "Hey, why don't you should have Derek Richards on, the comic." And do you know Derek?
I've heard My Normal World a lot. He's very funny.
Yeah. And he's a road dog. He's been a road dog forever. So Dave connected us, and I've seen him on Normal World too. He's got a new special coming out on you know what? I'll get into the details tomorrow, but it's Blaze. I think Normal World is putting it out. It's their first foray into that.
Yeah.
And so I don't know what it is. I'll give you details tomorrow, but Derek's going to join us tomorrow for the show, and we can talk about his new special, Life on the Road. I mean, he's like I said, he's one of those hardcore dudes, 25 years on the road from Detroit, which is cool.
Yep, he was the one who joined Dave on that little tour of Detroit that he did recently.
Okay, yeah. And Dave really seems to enjoy him, and Dave has really good taste. So I'm excited for it. I'm going to check out the special tonight. And so we can look forward to that. And then Dave is one of my all-time favorites. So we'll do the show Wednesday together, something to look forward to. And then as I was prepping for the show, I get this video from a buddy of mine, and I guess Creed and Three Doors Down were in town last week in Detroit.
Creed's coming back.
They are?
Yeah. You
mean in popularity, or they're physically coming back?
No. They're just coming back in popularity a little bit. A lot of those early 2000s, late 90s bands are coming back around.
Mm-hmm. Creed's another one of those, like Nickelback, that gets a lot of shit, but really, Mark Tremonti can play his ass off. Scott Stapp can sing. They got so big, so popular. The hits were so big that it becomes it's easier to shit on them. It's
my mouth's not open.
Yeah, like everybody does that.
Yeah.
And everybody has it's the Hootie and the Blowfish effect. Like you go diamond and multi-platinum on top of that with your first album.
Plus they did it as a religious band, which is even more impressive.
Did they do that out with the very first album?
Creed's always been a religious. It's called Creed.
Yeah. I don't remember that. I totally remember that coming about. And Scott Stapp turned into kind of a douche in a lot of ways, like publicly, like fucked up publicly. One of the, it's got to be really tough for these guys that have spent their lives in garages and in tiny stages, and then to have not just success, but just monumental global magazine cover success. How do you deal with that, cope with that, not just flame out completely? It's got to be incredibly difficult. A lot of them don't handle it well. I think Scott Stapp would be the first to tell you probably didn't handle that the best, but those songs, you might have to roll up your windows in your car if you really want to crank them up so other people don't hear you cranking them out.
Not anymore. No, right now it's okay.
Is it okay?
Yeah.
Like, I remember when Nickelback was coming to town and Newberg and Michelle were coming to town, and Michelle wanted to go to that. I was like,
Nickelback still crank your windows up.
Yeah, but dude, I was like, oh, Nickelback, no problem. And I literally reached out to virtually all contacts I had in radio, could not get tickets for it.
Yeah.
Like, I wasn't going to pay for tickets to see Nickelback, but if I call Doug Podell or text Screamin' Scott, if they have any tickets in house, here's a pair.
No.
What do you need? Dude, that show, it was like, Podell was like, bro, if you would have hit me up a week ago, I could have hooked you up, but they're fucking gone.
Nickelback fans are like Trump supporters in 2016. There's a lot more than you think.
A lot more. Huge. And I bet the show's a blast. I bet it's an absolute blast. And you probably would recognize literally 90% of the set list.
Yeah.
But yeah, my boy Josh sends me this video. Do you have the video there?
Yep, right here.
So this is at Little Caesars Arena last Wednesday on the 20th.
Oh,
so there's Scott Stapp on the screen, Mark Tremonti. Yeah, get volume and back it up.
What's up?
Is there volume playing?
Yep.
No.
Oh. There is on my end.
Really?
Yep. I'm having to go through an application window instead of screen share because it's not a website, so maybe that's the problem. I could probably find a spot to play it from.
Oh, yeah, because I sent it to you that way?
Yep. It's a little harder when you send things over text.
Fuck. Sorry. Well, I want to give him his due. I don't want to screw it up and not have audio.
Yeah, hold on. Oh yeah. Grab it again.
Yeah. See if you can grab it. There's a lot of bands doing this where they pull people on stage. I don't know about you, Garet, but I can really get in the weeds looking at videos. There's something about seeing a little kid go up on stage and play. Now, this kid's not going to play, but like that one of Green Day where the kid's so small, he's got the guitar and he's got to sit on I don't know, one of the monitors or something, or a box on stage because the guitar's just too heavy for him. Yeah. And the kid absolutely rips Jesus of Suburbia or something, and fucking Billy Joe is singing it, the band's playing, and there's something. Pearl Jam has done that at a bunch of shows. I think a lot of bands are doing this. A lot of people are holding up signs like, I want to sing with you, and you see these bands that are like, it's kind of like you don't want to get someone up there that absolutely has never touched a guitar or
they might embarrass themselves.
Sing. Yeah, and I've seen some of them go as far as like, what key is the song in? They'll ask them and like get as much as you can asking an audience member who wants to participate. And then when it's like, oh, they're in the right key, they know the chords, at least verbally, bring them on stage and see what they can do. There's some great ones with the Foo Fighters out there. Dave Grohl bringing someone up and rocking out.
Although I will say my favorite ones are when the rappers bring a white person on stage and it becomes a game of don't say the N-word.
Oh, God.
Like Kendrick Lamar's done that a couple of times and some people have gotten in trouble for it.
Yeah. And actually said the word.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what you're supposed to do, man. This
you're on the spot. It's hard.
I know. And this thing like, hey, man, who was it that bought all your records? Mostly white kids did. And we all, just like if you're listening to your favorite band and you're singing along to the songs, you memorize the lyrics to those songs, you know the hooks, you know when to go nuts. Like you putting people in this weird spot where we have to pretend like all of a sudden because of my skin color, I'm not able to verbalize this word that you used 400 times in this single. Like, what are we doing? What is the accusation that this must be deep in their heart, hatred for another race because they're singing along with a band that they've bought all their shit, paid to go to their show. Like, it's kind of funny in a way, but it's also kind of a silly game that you're playing there. Yeah. I did have a kid that I grew up with, sort of. I mean, I didn't like elementary school, but like high school, black kid. We used to hang out with, really, really cool guy. And he would be in the backseat. We'd probably be all fucked up, driving around listening to the latest whatever rap album. And he'd be singing along, and he would mute himself at anytime there was a swear word.
Oh, that's even worse. Like I mute the N-words if my windows are down, as far as people know. And then I will never mute the swear words, though.
Yeah, but he would do it. It was almost really cool because a lot of these rappers in these singles, like you can't go 3 words without a swear word. So to be able to drop that out and still hit all the other words, it was almost like a game.
It was almost
for him.
Talent in him.
Because exactly. It was like, wow, look what Kenny can do. Holy shit. So, and you could swear around him and he'd swear. So it wasn't like a prude thing. It wasn't like, oh, I've got to be at church on Sunday. I don't want to burst into flames. But it was like, I don't know what it was, but it was funny to see in real time. Were you able to find that video?
I'm working it out right now. I'm just uploading it unlisted to YouTube real quick.
That if any of you were at the show last Wednesday and saw a little kid brought up on stage, he's a little kid that I've talked about on this show before when we were going through the rehabilitation of the house, and the guy that was doing that, and he was supposed to just do a bathroom. That's what I'd initially hired him to do, I believe, was a bathroom. And in days, it became evident like, oh, there's not going to be a single project done in this house without that dude. There are certain people, and if you've ever done work around a house, needed to update something, gut something, any type of work, when you find those guys that you go, yep, next level, when you see it, it's like seeing a good band. And you go, yep, they might not make it to rock star status, but they're legit. That dude can absolutely play his ass off. When you see it, you know it. I knew it immediately with Josh. He's become a good friend at this point. As good a friend as you can become being, states away. It turned out he lived like a block over from me, and I'd been walking by his house for years with CC and stuff. And his little kid, Noah there, would get dropped off at the end of my street and then walk home. Well, when his dad was working at my house, and he ended up being the foreman on the whole damn thing, it's amazing. Incredible work ethic, incredible, just awesome. And then fun as shit to hang out with too and talk with. I'd end up going to his house and, he'd be making pizzas and shit with his kid, and we'd be playing video games downstairs. And he was kind of the beneficiary when I moved out of town, because I had all kinds of shit, tons of shit. I had autographed Kiss albums, from Gene and Paul, comics that they signed. Yeah. I had a guitar. I had an acoustic guitar that was autographed by Slash and Cheap Trick and maybe even Creed and whatever bands came in. It was just kind of in one of the hallways.
I got none of it.
What's that?
I got none of it.
It was whoever was in my orbit.
I know.
And then I'm so impressed when I find out there's a 10-year-old who his favorite band is Kiss, and he was the one that would call me Mr. Mike. And I was like, yeah, I think I want to go by Mr. Mike now, because there's a level of respect. He was probably 9 at the time, maybe 10, and he'd come over, hi, Mr. Mike. And his mom's a badass. His dad's awesome. And this little kid he was just the coolest little dude. Look you in the eyes when he's talking to you, super polite, not trying too hard, involved in everything. And him and his dad shared this love of like rock, and his dad's constantly introducing him to like metal bands, and they're going to see Motley Crue. They're going to see, and so it's no surprise they're going to see Creed and Three Doors Down, and his dad gets tickets in the pit.
Oh, he's doing it 100% right. Like,
yeah,
that's one of my favorite memories of all time. Is 12 years old. My first concert ever was Primus, and I was in the pit with my dad.
It's a good one. Mine 100%. was my second one was Motley Crue on the Theater of Pain tour at 13. My first show was 12, and it was Rod Stewart. And
it wasn't your choice, though, was it?
Not my choice. No.
Okay, then that's okay.
My dad was cool but selfish. So my dad wasn't going to, he would have gone and seen Paul McCartney. My dad was not going to go to Motley Crue. My dad was like, yeah, fuck you and your gay little Motley Crue band. I'm not going to see that. But no offense to the gays.
No,
and he would never say that. I'm paraphrasing, obviously.
Yeah.
My dad would be like, okay, we can go see the Cars. We just looked at the schedule for Pine Knob that summer, and it was like, you can go to the Cars, the Eurythmics, or Rod Stewart. And at the time, Rod Stewart probably had the number one single in the country. Like, do you think I'm sexy? If you think I'm sexy and you want my... And it was like, I guess we'll go to Rod Stewart. Now probably the Cars.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'd probably pick the Cars. The Eurythmics are out. I fucking...
Dude, you know what, though? Dave Stewart is amazing, and he's produced everybody since then.
Yeah.
And Annie Lennox is the real deal. I wouldn't have been ashamed. I'm not ashamed of any of them. Let me be clear about that. I've seen Rod the Bod many times since then, and Rod Stewart puts on an amazing show. T-Roy and I actually got into a kick. We must have seen Rod every tour he came through Detroit. Just go get hammered on the lawn. And Rod Stewart, the chicks there were always hot smoke shows. Like, it was a lot of fun. And so I think I saw Rod Stewart at Tiger Stadium. Maybe someone can fact check me on that. I think he played Tiger Stadium at one point. But anyways, do you have that video, or is that not going to pull up?
It's not going to work. I'm trying to upload it right now. If I get it up, I will. But
yeah, and you can show the video even without audio. Yeah. But Scott Stapp's like, hey, we got this little guy here, pulls him up on stage. That's little Noah.
Hey.
That's little fucking Noah, who I've been talking about, who's cool as shit. And the kid's super into it. He's got a bunch of musical instruments and all that kind of stuff. Little Noah got pulled up on stage, and Scott Stapp asks his name and then has the whole crowd chanting for Noah. And then Mark Tremonti gave him that fucking guitar.
Goddamn.
Yeah. Do you have a picture of the guitar there?
That I can pull up if you give me one second here.
And so I'm like, Josh, send me a picture of the guitar. Yeah. And it's a Paul,
very pretty guitar.
It's a Paul Reed Smith. And if you zoom in up to the top by the neck, it's got Tremonti's name on it, Mark Tremonti. You know, I mean, dude, if I was a little kid, like I got a drumstick.
I got a pick behind me.
Yeah, I got a pick from Jason Newstead, and I think I may have broken a girl's finger for it at in the pit at GNR Metallica on the Black Tour. I guess it would have been the Black Tour.
Yeah, that's a good pick to keep.
Yeah, I still have that. What's his name? Chris Cornell gave me a handful of picks.
Oh wow!
And said to give them out to everybody, and I was like, okay, that's cool, because there was like 20 of us there for this show they were doing, and that Riff was putting on. It was at a bar in Royal Oak, and there were hardly anyone there. And Chris Cornell, afterwards, I was talking to him. I was like, you know, I cared more about Cornell and those guys than probably anyone. Well, that's not true. There was a lot of Riff guys there, but Cornell, I made sure to take the pick Chris was using. So I have the pick that Chris Cornell was actually playing, and then he's got a signature pick, as all these guys do, with his name on it. And he's like, hey, bro, will you do me a favor? Just if anyone wants a pick. And he just gave me like 20 of them, and I handed like 10 of them out and kept the rest.
Lynn's got one from Sponge.
Oh, there you go, Lynn. There you go.
Actually, funny enough, right behind me where that Sponge album is, in front of that is a pick from a Polyphia show that I caught in my mouth. It's from their bassist, Clay Grober.
There you go. No one's ever heard of him, so very special.
Listen, motherfucker, they are playing with Metallica. They're a very popular band. They're headlining with a lot of headliners.
Chris Cornell, Bill Mahalski, who you just named. It's the same thing. Same thing.
You're just not up to date on music anymore, man. I'm sorry. You're out of date.
100% true. 100% true. No, I'm sure it's great.
This is a very popular band.
And the fact is, Garet, if you like them, that's all that matters anyway.
Oh, yeah.
I caught a drumstick from Tommy Aldrich. From Whitesnake. He was Ozzy's drummer forever. Yep. And that thing's beat to shit. He was beating the shit out of his drums that night. Can't remember where that show was, but he threw that into the crowd literally from his set. And so I have a Tommy Aldrich drumstick. I have one of Tommy Lee's from the Girls Tour, maybe Girls. And that one's cool because it's got these rivets on it. Like the whip from where Tommy, later he would do tape on his sticks, but at the time, it was carved into the wood. That one's kind of cool. And I've got a handful of guitar picks from different bands over the years and drumsticks. But dude, getting a guitar at a show like that.
That's next level.
That's next level.
That guitar is going in a glass case, getting protected. Yeah,
exactly. So I can honestly say it couldn't go to a better family or a better kid. Yeah. Like he's such a cool, neat little kid. So if you were at that show and you saw him chanting for no on stage, you feel good knowing that he's a really great kid, awesome parents. His mom's a lawyer, dad can build a house from the fucking sewage lines up and do top. Like, it's people like that. You're like, yeah, that kid will take care of that guitar. It's in good hands. So I was really excited for him, and very cool. I wish I was at that show too, man. That'd be a fun one. And you just know that kid's going to grow up forever telling that story about, getting those. And I always worry that these kids, like, I loved the bands that my parents grew up on. I loved all that music, yeah. So that it's cool that it was starting to feel like, to me anyways, like music wasn't having the same mark on kids. It was all kind of electronic, and hey, whatever they're into. But there was a healthy respect for those bands that came before me, whether it's the Beatles, the Doors, and Floyd, like those were Bob Dylan and the Dead. Like, I listened to those bands exclusively for 10 years before getting into other stuff. So I love seeing little kids that are truly like, into Kiss and Motley Crue and Queensryche and Rat and like those bands from an era that's mostly gone, but still, can pack a stadium out and, seeing those kids. It's cool, man. Cool.
It's really cool. The worst part though, being that kid who likes those older bands, is right now I'm kind of in a race of who can I see before they die. because like I've missed out on the Beastie Boys, I've missed out on Soundgarden. They're, like those are two acts I was dying for, never got a chance to. And any version of them going forward will never be the same.
You can't beat yourself up about it, Garrett. No. You're going to have regrets. I have two. Didn't see Nirvana, had the chance. Didn't see Alice in Chains, had the chance. Had tickets to Alice in Chains, the Alice in Chains Sponge Kiss show, and I believe Lane died, a couple weeks later.
Yep.
Could have seen both of those bands. Nirvana would have been a bit of a stretch, but I had friends that went to that Chili Peppers, Nirvana, Pearl Jam show at the Blind Pig in Ann Arbor.
All right.
I think that's who was on that lineup.
With Soundgarden, one of my coworkers at the time was like, "Hey man, I'm going to the Soundgarden show tonight. I have an extra ticket. Do you want to come with me?" I'm like, "No, I have plans, dude. I'll catch the next one." Literal my exact words. I said, "I have plans, man. I'll catch the next one."
Yeah, hope you got a good buzz with your buddy at the bar that night. Like, dude,
you know crazy. What it was? There's probably just a family dinner or something I could have done later.
Yeah, your hot mom would have excused you in a heartbeat. Yeah. Your dad for sure would have. He would have been like, Soundgarden, go.
Go.
So, I have those regrets. It's I don't know why it is. Like, I know some people, they don't give a shit at all. I'll watch them on YouTube.
I get it.
Like me, I want to experience them in person. I want to go see, all those bands. And I keep the ticket stubs. They mean something to me. It's like those experiences. It's cool to see that continue with, and it's no shock to me that, Def Leppard and Journey sells out, at Comerica Park
in 2024.
Right. Yeah. It's cool, man. It's cool. And there's some good tours like that out there. Sponge is always on them. Sponge is always on some cool tour with a bunch of bands that, and I stand by the statement. If you know the name of the band, they're very good. And that goes for basically any genre. You might not be a fan of it, but the fact that you know Justin Bieber's name means he's really fucking talented.
Yeah, he's got something behind him.
Yeah, this idea of they suck. Like, no, they don't. No, they don't. You might not have that as your taste, but they do not suck. Most of those bands, all of those bands, if they're on a national or international level, are very good. Very, very good. So, I tell everybody, go see as many of them as you can. I watched 60 Minutes last night for the first time since Mr. President, it's just not true. It's just not true. Like, that was it for me when I felt like I couldn't count on my media to tell me the truth. That was kind of the final straw and one of the last steps for me. Like, I knew which ones, but 60 Minutes was just like hallowed ground. I didn't expect them to peddle nonsense. Hunter Biden's laptop, that one really bothered me.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure it was Leslie Stahl. The details get fuzzy as the years go on. But I just felt like those people were stepping out of their lane by, just dismissing a president's claim about something. I thought that was a step too far, and I didn't expect it from 60 Minutes of all places. And I just went, okay, I get it. I guess we're just, Americans don't understand how propagandized they are. That like people go, oh, North Korea or China or Russia. It's like, here's the difference between them and America. They know they're being propagandized. They know they have state-run media.
Yeah.
That's the only difference. You're even worse propagandized than America. You just think you're getting the truth. Hilarious on its face. But anyways, G keeps pushing me. He was like, oh, you should watch this segment of 60 Minutes. And I thought it was pretty good. It wasn't like, hey, we're going to, I don't know. It seemed fine. It was all right. It was like 60 Minutes. I remember they did a story on a new University of Austin, and they were there. I think it was called Disruptor U, which I don't know if you probably don't watch 60 Minutes at all.
No, not at all.
Yeah. I think that young people just don't. And why would you?
It's a very boring format where it's like, we have podcasts that do the exact same thing, and I can put a podcast in while I'm working. So I'd rather just do that.
Yeah, totally true. It is weird. The change in media landscape, the way it goes, it is such that you really don't need that. I'll play something from MSNBC in a little bit. I'm flipping out about being the media, and they just have a bloated sense of self-worth as to what they're doing and how important they are. And I understand that feeling of it being hard to really understand like where you're getting your stuff. But this University of Austin, of course, Disruptor U. And I thought the details were interesting. Like, hey, we feel that what's going on in universities is corrupt as shit. We're going to get 5-star professors, experts in their field. It's not going to cost shit. They fundraised $200 million. And they teach these courses and where everyone's welcome. And you could tell by the student body they had just for the interview. It's like, yep, that's a gay kid. Yep, that's a black dude. And it's like, yeah, that's the way it should be. Like everybody's sort of represented. They have different political leanings, but they're getting like they're not being indoctrinated.
Yeah.
And so, if you go on Twitter, it's like, Trump University. You're like, okay. It's just hilarious, but I would feel it seems like a step in the right direction, and making something because you feel that the way it's supposed to be done is not serving its purpose properly, not doing what it's supposed to do, that it's kind of an indoctrination factory. I think a lot of young people are waking up to that. I really do, which is kind of encouraging. It's kind of cool to see, like, hey, who this person sleeps with doesn't elevate them to some status. We need to listen to them and shut up. Like, no, that's not how the real world works. It's not how life works.
Exactly.
I wouldn't want those people in my orbit. So
yeah, it's just because I prefer a certain type of person doesn't mean I have to be in charge of anything. All right. I'm just as dumb as every other motherfucker out there.
It is kind of cool though, that people are waking up to that. Like, yeah, no, we don't have to do that.
Yeah.
And, you could go to now that we re-elected Trump, this is the fallout. It's like, no, this was coming.
Yeah.
This has been coming for a while. Comics started to push back on some of this and just kind of smile in the face of some club in Portland banned comics for life. Those comics, when you listen to like Kurt Metzger and stuff, I remember that day when that news story came out that they banned certain comics from performing in clubs. And Kurt was just like, yeah, who gives a shit?
Yeah.
I don't care.
I'm guarantee I've said this on the show before, but I've been telling people for a while, like this Gen Z coming up right now is a lot more right-wing than the sort of left-wing millennial. It's kind of like rebelling against your parents,
Yeah.
You saw that parental guidance, whatever advisory sticker on an album, it was the cool album. So now your parents are telling you, well, don't say this word, don't listen to this media, don't do that. And you're like, all right, fuck you, mom. I'll do what I want.
And they're not really right-wing though. That's the funny thing.
It's more of just the going against your parents and listening to CNN like your mom does, or listening to whatever media is on in the background of your car.
Yeah, it's a different thing. It's a cultural thing. Because they're not right-wing people any more than I am. I'm not really a right-wing person. I know some people can laugh at that, but I'm really not.
But I think it's like, once again, after the satanic panic, it's kind of like a little edgier to say retard in public again. It's like, okay, we can be a little more punk now.
Yes. And the fact of the matter is, kids tend to, going through rebellious stages, lash out in ways against what the norm is, what you're supposed to do. And it was creepy. It was really creepy to watch all these kind of kids, at least the ones you heard from, all having the same narrative, all the universities having the same directive of not allowing this person to speak on our campus. Like, all that kind of stuff seemed very cult-like. And we've been talking about it for a decade at least now, but it was getting more normal. That was the scary part.
But now the younger side of Gen Z is being able to pop up now and vote and have a say in things. And they're a little bit more on the like, hey, I want to say what I want to say now. All right. Like, you can't tell me what I'm going to say.
Well, the pendulum swing is what you're seeing. And it's cool to see young people go, no, I'm not just going to fall in line with this thing. Like, I was worried because I'm fully aware of the pendulum swing. Like, hey, you go too far this way, you're going to swing back that way. I was really worried that it seemed like we were getting to a place where there were too many, like, seeing people with supreme privilege and not like thinking that's the way the normal world is, not understanding almost that just being born in America comes with extreme privilege, so much entitlement, just from that alone. And if you don't put that in its proper context, you can think stuff like, I was taught blah, 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 and my teacher wasn't even a purple-haired lesbian.
Yeah.
What the fuck? Like, thinking that's right. Like, you have so much entitlement and privilege to get to that place that I was worried that, like, oh shit, does this generation not know like how to swing back from that? But they're proving they do, which is really cool. So that story was kind of interesting on 60 Minutes. And then the other one was Humans in the Loop, which was kind of interesting. Do you have the clip there, Garet? It's like I don't know what 60 Minutes tweeted this out, their promo.
Right here,
for
as soon as it loads up. Everything's being slow on my end today.
That's okay. It's a holiday week. No big deal.
Yep. Yeah, I don't know if it's my internet or something, but I clicked the load up button and now it's frozen.
Oh, nice. Yeah, it's basically
there we go.
Was it going to play?
No, I see. I don't even see the screen on my screen.
So it starts with Leslie. If you can get it to play, let me know. I don't know what the fuck's going on there, but we've never had this problem before.
No, we haven't.
So it's okay. I don't blame you, buddy. Don't worry. So will AI make us obsolete? That's not very likely. Meta, OpenAI, Microsoft, Google, they're reaching out to so she goes on to say, will it make humans obsolete? No, and here's why. And then they're going to do their stupid breakdown of why that's not true. I would think you're short-sighted in that view that, yeah, it probably will make you obsolete eventually. You need to think a little further down the road than 2 years to get there, but eventually AI will, almost become sentient, in a way that its learning capabilities probably won't rely on human intervention, that it will almost self-teach. And at that point, my guess is it won't require much human involvement. Humans will be slower and dumber than it at some point. Like, that just seems like the natural progression. But for right now, these companies are farming out the grunt work.
Yeah.
To Africa, to Kenya, Venezuela. And so everything that, they're just farming this work out to them so that they can do the bullshit work behind it. Like they're going in and, hey, I'm an AI person. Like, we have an AI job. And these people in Kenya are like, ooh, cool, an AI job. And then it's like, yeah, we need you to just put a box around this image and then tell the computer what it is. And it's like, ooh, bush, car. So, you've got 67% unemployment rate for young people in Kenya. Naftali is the guy in that video. His college degree, he's a college grad, degree in mathematics, 2 kids, and he's pissed that he's making like $2 an hour. And he does photo labeling, stuff like that. Not exactly maximizing, that college degree, that mathematics degree he's got. He's not, working on the Pythagorean theorem, if you will. He's not, reinventing Newton's law of gravitation, but
no.
He's able to put a box around a bush and be like, yeah, that's a bush. And so the AI is then like, so they would highlight like a box or like, this is a car, don't run into that. And it's like, so the AI machine in the car learns, oh yeah, Naftali told me not to run over the bushes and the cars and other people.
Yeah.
So I don't know, what kind
of... Seen my current favorite content farm is a lot of the OnlyFans models who just got in trouble for farming all their content responses and their stuff. Like, the people responding are in India. So it's a bunch of Indian dudes like responding back and flirting with you when you think you're talking to these hot chicks.
Yeah, all of the farming to India, we all are familiar. It's a hack bit at this point to be like, you get some customer service rep on the phone and, thank you, my name is Lisa. And you're like, your name's not fucking Lisa. Stop it. So they all had this brilliant idea that, you know, if you told them your real name, they'd be like, I don't even know how to pronounce that. And so give them an American name and tell them whatever you do, no matter how angry they are, tell them that you're very sorry. You're I'm very sorry, sir. I'm very, very sorry. And it's like, I got into it with someone, they were trying to send me something here, some coffee. I needed a new coffee machine and got one. And it was like, yeah, it was delivered. And I was like, okay, it's not here. So what happened? Yeah. And so I go and look at tracking, and it's got a picture of this is where we dropped it off. And it's some random fucking house somewhere in Arizona. And I'm like, yeah, you didn't deliver it here. Can you try again? They're like, oh, we are very sorry, sir. Very, very sorry. I'm like, yeah, stop fucking 3 times. 3 times. They delivered it to some random hole in the desert. And they were like, yep, we delivered it. And it's like, yeah, FedEx isn't having this problem. DHL isn't having this problem. The post office isn't having this problem. It's when you farm this shit out to Uber drivers to make all your fucking deliveries as a company. They don't give a shit. They're not doing this job right. And it took an extra 2 weeks and all kinds of shit. But I got, okay. Oh, okay. It's from you. Yep. Restream is being totally busted. Won't even let you pull up a video. Fuck.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. It's just my Restream tab. Yeah. So unless I leave and we end everything, and it's a lot of bullshit.
Yeah. Well, that sucks. I think I had a couple videos I wanted to play.
Yeah.
Too.
If you want to keep stalling for a second, I'll jump back in.
What do you mean? Oh,
just refresh the tab.
Yeah. You want to try it and see if that works?
I think that'll work.
Yeah. What was I saying? I'm talking about this story on 60 Minutes.
Yep.
So I'll go through my notes here. I've kind of got a hack job of writing down some notes. Why don't you bail and come back in, Garrett? Let yourself back in the door, and we'll see if we can get some of these to play. So yeah, these guys are now on 60 Minutes talking about, you know, these jobs that companies like Meta and Google and Alphabet are shipping overseas and hiring these people to do these jobs. And, oh, you're going to get into the world of AI. And then they're finding out, yeah, we're not really in the world of AI. It's not really a job growth thing. And now they're on 60 Minutes bitching about it. I kind of feel bad for them, but I don't know what the answer is. Honestly, if they're saying stuff like, these companies need to stop thinking this would pay $30 in America, but we can just give you $2 an hour in Kenya. And to me, it's like, yeah, take it up with your above board government agency. And the company named Sama that's serving as third party intermediary between United States businesses and you. Like, you don't have jurisdiction in America. Like, yeah, that's what they're doing. We've all been bitching about it for decades. So I don't really know what you do about it. No one seems to care that Nike runs fucking slave shops in China. You know, we put LeBron James on our TV every day and let him hawk Nikes. You know, we act like Phil Knight's a real humanitarian. Like, no, these are sweatshops in China. And Apple does the same thing, to the point they had to put nets around the building because so many people were fucking jumping to their deaths from there. Their solution, we'll just catch them so they can't hit the pavement. They might hurt someone else if they land on them. So that's the kind of answer. And they're going through these like human rights violations almost, or these what would be violations in America. If a job is scheduled for 6 months, they want it faster. And if you finish in 3, Leslie Stahl's like, yeah, what if you finish it in 3? And they were, no kidding, 2-piece fucking Kentucky Fried Chicken meal and a Coke. Yeah. They're like, yeah, they're breaking us. Again, you don't have to take this job, right? Like, here's an offer, take it or leave it. Like, we're posting this in Kenya and Venezuela, where you make 50 cents a year. Do you want this for $2 an hour? And these people are like, yeah, hopefully it leads somewhere. I'm working for an American company. And shocker, greedy corporations are taking advantage of essentially slave labor. No shock there, but I'd rather focus on the shitty work conditions that people in America have to deal with. No offense. No offense to Narofty or Nalofty, whatever his name is, but he's bitching that they're like, okay, today's job, Nafaldi, is you're sifting through child porn. You're going to go through murder videos and hate speech videos, adorable hate speech videos. I'd want the hate speech videos. And then your job is to go, no hate speech. And then you label it as hate speech, or you label it as kid fucking videos or murder videos, suicide videos. And then AI learns and goes, oh yeah, that's a suicide video. I've seen that before. Nafali told me all about it. And so it's fucking them up mentally. And then Leslie Stahl's like, what do we do? What do we do about this? They're demanding therapists, trauma specialists now. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. There's no jurisdiction there, Nafaldi. I don't think we can help you here. Maybe they're suing Meta and Soma now. But U.S. jurisdiction doesn't reach there. So I don't know how that's going to work. So yeah, they didn't pay us for some work done. No, the problem is you have a third party that's taking money and agrees that we'll pay $12.50 an hour. And then they hire you, Nafaldi, and give you $2 or $1 an hour. And you took the job. So Google, Meta, they suck. They're horrible corporations, I'm sure. But, they don't pull that shit, I don't think, in America. I think they take care of their American staff. But when they can abuse the third world, it seems like they have no problem doing that. So I'm sorry, sir, that that's going on. Bitching, no job security. Well, no shit. You're in Kenya. If you were in America, you'd have labor organizations going to bat for you. You could unionize, perhaps. Maybe not at Bezos's Amazon, but in some places, you'd have some sort of protections, oversight, safety regulations that you could bitch about. But in Kenya or in India, you have places that have large populations and jack shit. It's not a good formula. So I don't know. I don't know what the answer is to all this, but I don't know. What happened to Garet? We just lose him completely? Is anyone on here anymore? I don't want to I can sit here and ramble myself, but hold on. I got a message from Garet. Let's see. My restream isn't even loading. He's having a tantrum on my restream isn't even loading. I think I need a full reboot. My PC is having a tantrum on all ends. Should I give him an eye roll emoji? Ugh. Yeah. Yeah. Anyways. There's something weird about doing this by yourself, sitting in a room by yourself, talking to yourself. It seems weird. So maybe I just kill it there and we regroup for another time. It's a short week anyways, but anyways, I feel bad for Nafaldi. It's hard. Here's how this works, folks. If a video's playing, I can kind of update myself on my notes. It's hard to do that in real time and converse with you. It makes it very difficult. So that's why it's a little goofy to do this. But I feel bad for these people in these third world countries, but I don't know what the answer is. They are always going to look for ways to get cheap labor, knowing that American citizens are going to probably throw a shit fit and demand there's laws they need to abide by. There are not those laws in corrupt nations, third world countries. They don't have those worker protections. You would hope that a country would do the right thing, but as a realist, they're not. They're gonna pay as little as they have to. There's probably going to be jack shit for healthcare. There's, good luck if you get injured at work. There's winning the lottery, winning the life lottery is, being born in America. It's entitled. It is what it is, but that it's the reality of it. When you talk about standing on the shoulders of giants, if I see further down the road, a wise man once said, I can't remember, I'd attribute the quote. If I've seen further down the road, it's because I'm standing on the shoulders of giants. Well, that's absolutely true. You are standing on the shoulders of giants. Everybody in America is standing on the shoulders of the giants that came before you. So everything we take for granted. So when you get somewhere like Kenya and it's like, oh, we got running water in this village. And you're like, yeah, whoever got water in that village is a giant. And hopefully one day you'll stand on their shoulders and see further down the road. But, this, 60 minutes doing a feel good story on something like this seems a bit much. I don't know. Hold on. We got a text update from Garet. I don't know what's happening. Everything started like normal. Now my PC is freezing and not shutting down. Just had to reboot it. I can tell you exactly what's going on, Garet, if you ever listen to this. All that fucking third world gay porn you're searching, you got a bug. You got a virus. You got AIDS of the computer, sir. That's my guess. I don't know what kind of goofy shit you're into, but that's clearly what's going on here. My computer freezes up. I reboot it. Call AA Ron. Make sure everything's good. We're good. You start going in those deep, dark corners of the gay porn world, like Garet's probably trolling through. Whew, God only knows. But anyway, why don't we call it there? We got an hour in. That's pretty good. And Derek Richards tomorrow. Looking forward to that. I love Road Dogg Comics. We'll shoot the shit with him. And then Dave Landau on Wednesday. And then Thanksgiving. And the Lions, I just pray. I was watching someone make the argument today about it might have been on one of the NFL programs that I was watching. And he was talking about, it might have been Rex Ryan talking about, the last 5 years, those Thanksgiving home teams are 3-11. And the reasons for that are sometimes they're a lousy team. The Lions would have fallen into that category 5 years ago. The Lions didn't look good on Thanksgiving, I think, last year. I think they lost bad. But that when you're the home team hosting, you have family obligations and family coming to town. You have all kinds of holiday prep and what time are you going to be home? Your mom's flying in from wherever in the country, and so is your brother and your sister, and my aunt's coming in. Can you pick them up from the airport? These guys' personal lives don't end because of work. They still have to go to work and practice. They still have the game, but the responsibilities that are thrown on their heads of ticket requests and airport runs, all that stuff falls on their lap too. It's not fair to just dump that on your spouse, significant other. And so a lot of these guys go through that. Whereas for the road team coming to town, it's a business trip. I'll be home late on Thanksgiving. How about we do a late Thanksgiving dinner with all the family? Sorry, hon, you're going to have to handle all that because I'm going to be in Detroit for a week or for 4 days. For the 3 days leading up to Thanksgiving, I'm going to be in Detroit to play the Lions. And you are focused. You're either in your hotel, you're at the practice facility, or you're at the stadium for the game. It's a business trip for them. And so that's the trap I would say the Lions need to look out for. I think they're just a far superior team, obviously, than the Bears. But these are NFL teams, period. So, it doesn't matter. You run into really competitive games between the Chiefs and the Panthers for some odd reason yesterday. Well, it's because the Panthers are pros too. You're like, they might not have it all put together, but they're still pro athletes. And the Lions are going to run into that, and hopefully they can stay focused. They've been super focused all year. Hopefully that's what you see. But, I stay away from these games when it comes to betting. My brother bets on a lot of games. He can't help it. He doesn't go crazy, but, he'll put $100, $50. If you really love something, maybe a couple $100, but no problem. just to have action on a game. Yeah, I threw 25 on this game and I threw 50 on the late game. It is fun. And I kind of live vicariously through them. Like, who do we got tonight? Who are we pulling for? But when it comes to these, and he can't help it, and a lot of you gamblers out there know this, you can't help it, where it's like you're either chasing or you're on a hot streak, you want to keep going, and you take that fucking divisional game, and you take that team, you don't take the home team in a divisional game, like, because they're not as good. Well, it doesn't matter. They're divisional opponents. Like, stay away from those. Stay away from Green Bay, Chicago. Just stay away. Even if a team is lousy, stay away from those divisional matchups, the teams you play twice a year, and these holiday ones too, where maybe it's just the record speaks for itself. 3-11 over the last 5 years. So I'm really looking forward to it. I think us Lions fans, those of us that have been there for decades, that have watched this team absolutely suck. The one thing we look forward to every year was the Thanksgiving game, and just show up on Thanksgiving. Show up. You can be a 2-9 team, a 1-9 team, and it's like, just show up on Thanksgiving on national TV. Show them that we got pro athletes here in Detroit too. That's what we hoped for when the season, because by the end of November what your team looks like. We knew we sucked, but you want them to go in on that Thanksgiving game and just don't embarrass us. You can even lose the damn game. Just make it a game. Have it something that's worthy of talking about the next day when there's only 2 games to talk about. You're one of them. You don't want to be the blowout game that's like, yeah, the Lions again on Thanksgiving. Let's talk about the Cowboys-Giants game that was awesome. So you just want that. Show up and be good. I think this team is disciplined different than they've ever been, certainly in our lifetimes. But, you probably got to go back to the 50s and the 30s before this team was relevant on this kind of level and seemed to have that kind of where everything's working from the front office to the team to the coaches, all phases of the game, offense, defense, special teams, playing together, pulling for the same goal. It's awesome to watch, and I really hope on Thursday that's what we get to see from this squad, man. I'm more excited for this Thanksgiving game than I've ever been. Last year was exciting, but this year it's special. So anyway, I don't want to. Maybe I'll save some of these stories and we can get into them tomorrow. But Garet's having all kinds of technical problems. I've had enough of those over the years, so I get it. Maybe I'll do an email and we'll we'll call it a day. And all right, let's see here. How about save a couple, but do a couple from the members show. A couple people made comments in there. If you'd like to become a member, patreon.com/TDC podcast. Get an extra show a week, which is always fun. I haven't talked to Garet yet. I try to do something. But Doug commented, I really love my Fridays. This show gets better and better every week. Thank you, buddy. Thank you. I appreciate that. Hell yeah. From Dustin. Hell yeah. I love to get a couple of these in the bank so I can listen for the day. Thank you, pal. I appreciate that. I always appreciate hearing from you guys. Don't ever forget that. I know there's lots of choices out there. The landscape is quite overwhelming at times. So you guys that are in there in the members area or even just here, it's great. I love interacting with you. I don't mind answering questions, making comments, talking about whatever. So whether it's for Garet, myself, a guest we've got coming on, it doesn't matter. Love hearing from you. So why don't we kill it there? Thank you, everybody. Sorry about the technical trouble. It happens. What are we going to do? Young Garet will be fine, I'm sure. And we'll see you tomorrow with Derek Richards